It's another Thursday. It's another podcast. I don't have a great cold open for you all today, but what's up, Parlay Pete, man? How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Just got some oysters and a little whistle pig, so we're ready to go.
That sounds like a great night. I played men's league basketball today, and I got some water.
Okay. What now? When you say men's league, does this mean that you were running said league and leading scoring? Did you guys win? Which is most
We
Did you win?
We lost by 7, man.
Okay. Well, at least did you give them work?
Yeah, I gave him a little 20 ball. Give him a little 20 ball.
Do you guys play? So is it like a full game,
40 minute, 40 minute
quarters?
Yeah, or 20-minute halves. Yeah.
Little college ball, huh?
Yeah, man. It was rough out there though. I couldn't find the jumper. Touch at the rim was off. But
were you Westbrook?
No, it wasn't Westbrook. It wasn't that ugly of a 20.
Well, you're making it sound like you didn't make the shots, but you were going to the hole and having success. That sounds like Westbrook to me.
I did hit a 3 and I did hit a couple middies. It's just not like you want.
It's good to make a 3 sometimes, I guess.
I was 1 for 2 from 3. Westbrook would be 1 for 8. Yeah. It was. Yeah. But no one cares about that. Let's talk about the Pro Bowl. I mean, you know what? I might rather watch men's league basketball than watch another Pro Bowl.
Man, or you could even hop on the wave of what me and Justin are doing. We've been watching women's hockey. It's actually pretty fucking entertaining, especially with the Winter Olympics on. But no, yeah, the Pro Bowl. I mean, like I told you in the pre-production meeting, I didn't even watch it, but watching the clips, seeing Mac Jones gritty, and you know what, stuff like that is what the Pro Bowl is for.
Yeah.
Give the fans a little. Nobody expects Mac Jones to do a gritty, right? And then it'd be a fake touchdown. It's not like he really scored, but he takes it to the house because you know what? He knew that was going to be his only chance to do it. He wasn't going to do it after the first down. He's got to do it in the end zone. He got the fans riled up. That's what the Pro Bowl is all about.
It is. And did you see where some of the players came out and said, if you're a free agent, you know what I'm saying, or you've been off all this time, you're just getting back out there, you ain't trying to get hurt. And then you got Dion and Shannon Sharp saying, look, we played. It's the Pro Bowl. If you don't want, and Shannon was like, if you don't want to play or you worried about free agency, then don't go.
I'm with them on it. That's why the guys that don't, they don't, Devontae Adams, he didn't have shit to go. Like, what the fuck does he got to gain? Hell, he's still pissed that they actually have it. They can go to the Pro Bowl,
right?
This was a championship or bust season for them, and so I'm not mad at that at all.
So, and here's my issue with a lot of the guys who are like, well, I just won't play. I'll sit out, or I'm going to half play. Yes, there is a chance that you get hurt playing football, but you got to play football. Like, just play. Like, just play football. Like, it's okay. But we know that's not going to happen. So I think they should really make it a flag football game, like real flag football rules. Let all the players, rotate in and out, have some linemen line up at receiver and DB, you know what I mean? And just really make it a flag football game.
Yeah, I would love to see Alex Mack, running a fade, and he's got Aaron Donald guarding him or something. Like, that would be fun to watch. I mean, we know what will probably happen in that scenario. Right. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, because it was cool to see Trayvon Diggs line up at receiver and Stephon Diggs cover him in the red zone. Like, that was cool. So, like, let's bring that flag football aspect to it, little playing both ways.
Backyard, yeah, a little backyard football. And in their case, that they had did that hundreds and thousands of times growing up, but we didn't get to see it. So we got to see it there. And that's what the Pro Bowl is about, having fun, not giving a watered down product to the consumer, because you don't want to get rid of the game and make a Pro Bowl be like, basically, hey, these are all the guys that didn't make all pro. Like, or some of them everybody out there is an all pro. Like, the people that are elected stars, most of them are pretty much going to be the all pro. But these are the guys that were next in line. And the Pro Bowl is still an accomplishment to be selected, because that does mean you were one of the 3 best players in your conference at that position, right? So, or in the wide receivers case, it's top 4, top 5. And so it's still an accomplishment, but, let's make the game a little bit better. And I think that they did a good job of bringing it to Vegas, obviously, this year. They really should just go back to Hawaii because I think a lot of the players like it because it's a vacation for their family, if anything. Nobody wants to go to everybody can go to Disney when they kind of want. And so, but going to Hawaii, that is something to where you don't really, like, yeah, they're rich enough to, of course, do it whenever they want, but it's still not like something you just do.
Exactly, because it's
time consuming.
It's time consuming and it's almost expensive as flying overseas, but it's not.
Right.
But you talk about Vegas, and I like the idea of Vegas because Vegas is also another city that people want to go to, especially when there's a lot of people there, But
you don't want to be Alvin Kamara in Vegas now.
And that's what I was about to bring up, man. Alvin Kamara, I mean, he's really being an Atlanta guy, isn't he?
Well, who knows? He just lost his coach. Slant boy, who knows what he's going to do this upcoming off season? He doesn't have a quarterback. Maybe he's trying to, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying he got a DUI on purpose, but I'd be drinking too if that was my situation. I just wouldn't be getting behind the wheel. Don't drink it.
No, he didn't get a DUI. He got the fighting. They beat somebody's ass. Like he broke. Like
they really went full QC.
Yeah, like they said, Kamara.
They were Migos with Joe Budden.
Yeah, and they was allegedly, and they was like stomping Buddy out.
Oh, you know what? That ain't even QC, bro. That's Tupac and Suge Knight in Vegas at the fucking casino, with Orlando Brown, whatever that dude's name was that they claimed killed Tupac. But yeah, that sounds like some Tupac shit to me.
I wonder why the fight happened. I can only think of some blatant.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I keep cutting.
I was gonna say blatant disrespect or a woman.
They go hand in hand because the disrespect would be that you can clearly see that these chicks are with us and you won't stop talking, bro. Like, so it all is disrespect. One way or another, it's disrespect. Sure. It could have been one of those situations where, when niggas see a celebrity, they might ask for something like a picture or, try and talk to them. And they're just like, bro, yeah, I'm doing something. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and then the nigga's like, man, well, fuck you then. Like, it's probably something along the lines of that. And what people forget, especially with a guy like Kamara, I mean, he's still like 26. That's still a young dude. Like, and even though he's been in the league and he should know better, these are still young dudes. A lot of these dudes be young.
And because we don't know what happened, and it could have really been a fair one that turned crazy, and because he's famous, because he's rich, he's gonna get sued for it. And Skip Bayless accused me with this because he goes, nothing good happens after midnight. I mean, I've had a lot of fun after midnight, Skip. And I don't have the target on my back that Alvin Kamara has, but you can't, just because you're rich or famous doesn't mean you got to be confined to the house, especially in Vegas, especially Pro Bowl weekend. But I think, these guys got to be careful. And you talk about the fan piece though, and somebody possibly asking for a picture. What a lot of people don't realize is, even though these guys are drunk, even though some of these guys are high, they don't want that shit recorded. Like they have endorsement deals.
Yeah, bad look. And then just more importantly, I mean, get out of my like come on.
Yeah, get out of my face.
I'm a famous person. I understand. You know who I am. But, as a fan, there's very few people I would walk up to and say something to, even if I'm a fan. I think we told this story to you before, even in the group. Me, Major Parlay, and Justice on Memorial Day 3 or 4 years ago, we played craps with Offset for like an hour. Never once. Well, y'all, but it was the last day. We were there. We stayed a little longer, and never once did I say even something that Offset like, yeah, I'm from Atlanta too, man. I always love your music. Like, not even some compliment shit. I knew who he was, and he knew that us young niggas knew exactly who he was. But that's probably why he stayed and played with us longer. You know what I mean? Because we were cool about it. He was talking to us like we're talking gambling. Like, he's like, if I'm rolling, he's like, I need that 4-4, baby. Like, he's like, give it to me, buddy. Like, it would be some shit like that. And so, like, you just don't. Unless I am just an absolute fanboy, be like, if I saw Kanye West, I am gonna say something. because I have to. But outside of somebody like him, and Kobe's dead now, he would have been the only other person. Even I tell you, Matt Ryan too. Number one, because I've never seen Matt Ryan in person, like out in public. Like I've seen Julio Jones. Hell, me and Julio used to live in the same building, and I just asked him how his leg was at the elevator. But like outside,
that same weekend we saw I saw Julio and I saw AD, and like I walked right by AD. We made eye contact. I looked at him. He looked at me.
Might give him a nod.
And then just kept moving.
Going. Yeah, like
I'm not about to ask you for no picture. For one, I'm older than you, and two, what I look like 5'11", standing next to 6'11". Hey, bro, ran into AD at the Aria.
Well, think about it. It's one thing if you guys are at the club or something, and you're literally, and even then, no. But I'm saying, like, let's say you're sitting in the same vicinity amongst like you might somehow, some way, you ended up in the same like section or something.
Or y'all sector next to each other, and it's like there's couches where you sitting on them, and you can like be next, like you can be like over in their section low key.
Yeah, or even for instance, like let's say, I don't know, like just an example. Let's say that you guys are hanging out with me out there, and like Colin's with me, and then y'all like, you're just talking to Colin. Then maybe you do want a picture. I have no idea, but he's gonna be okay, like because it's a mutual thing. You know what I mean? It's not this stranger coming up to me and asking to do all this stuff. Like, it's just crazy. So hate it for Kamar, but like I said, maybe he was kind of trying to get out of New Orleans. And Atlanta just so happened to needs a running back. I know that they're saying that they're trying to work it, but Cordell ain't the real running back. He's just a complimentary piece. But so
yeah, he's a off-brand Debo, right?
I'm just saying.
Speaking of somebody else who may be trying to get out, Kyler Murray scrubbed his Instagram of everything Cardinals. Is he really trying to quit on Cliff and the Cardinals, or is he just trying to get some money? And if he's trying to get some money, I just think that's a weird way to negotiate a contract.
I think it's one of those things that where it's going to be whichever comes first, and whichever comes first will still lead to the other. If he goes to if he wants out of there, the other team's going to pay him if they get him. So he can get one. He'll get both in that scenario. And if he doesn't get that, then he's going to get paid. So it's a win-win. Plus, he's a unique person because he's got leverage because he could just go and play baseball too. And so, he could if he wanted to. I don't know financially how that would work for him, but he could in reality if he wanted to. What was Kyler Murray in college? Was he a shortstop or something?
Outfielder.
Okay, so he doesn't really – I mean, I know baseball and football training is a little different, obviously, but like –
he hasn't hit 95 in years.
Who says that he doesn't go to the batting practice out there in Arizona? That's where the Cactus League is. Yeah, they're in Orlando, right? So – or it's not Orlando, but somewhere in Florida.
Tampa, St. Pete, I think.
St. Pete, yep, it's St. Pete. And so, I mean, I don't know. Who says that he's not hitting balls?
And
– his contract that says he can't, but I'm just saying, who says that he can't go to the batting?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of clauses and contracts, and Myles Garrett is playing in the celebrity basketball game. I'm sure there's something in his contract that tells him not to play basketball, and he doesn't care. But the thing about Kyler is, would you pay him? Because Lamar hasn't got paid yet, and Lamar's more accomplished than Kyler. Lamar has been more dependable than Kyler. Lamar got hurt for the first time this year, and kind of the way the season went, I felt like if they were still in playoff contention, he would have came back for the last two. But it was like, we're probably not going to make the playoffs anyway, so just rest up, champ.
Right.
But Kyler's in the last two seasons hurt, and his production falls off at the end of the year. I don't know if I break the bank for Kyler. Like, I'm not going to – I need one more year.
Well, now 40 is the standard for franchise quarterback pay. And if I'm Arizona, I mean, we spoke about this a few weeks ago, obviously. I'm trying to talk to the Texans. And I'm sure that they'll listen for Kyler. And like we said, it works out for Kyler, too. He'll get his payday. He gets to go to Texas. I don't see how that's a lose-lose. Lovie's the coach now.
Yeah.
I don't see how anyone loses in that scenario. How do you lose there?
I don't either, man. And look at you making the great transitions into Lovie Smith. So, Lovie Smith was announced as the Texans head coach. He and what's my man's name in Miami? Was that
Flores.
who?
You said Flores?
No,
Are
no,
you
no.
saying Mike McDaniel?
Mike McDaniel. Yeah, they are the two minority hires for this coaching cycle.
Minority. That's interesting.
I mean, Mike McDaniel, I think he's a quarter. One drop rule.
I don't even know if would that be considered a quarter? Let's see, if your grandparents or something.
If your parents are half, yeah.
This guy's like an eighth of if and let's keep it a. I mean, godly, come on, man.
They got the compensation for the minority hire, though.
He's a fucking eighth black man. Right.
So
let me tell you something, Lee. My great grandfather is a white man. I mean, what are we really talking about here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where do we draw the line on this stuff? And we need to. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get into that too. That is a serious issue with that.
That's going to be a post football season podcast where we can really like go deep into that one.
Okay.
Because I think it's sick that you got to do this draft compensation. Like
it's stupid. It's stupid.
And it's also crazy that if it's a coin flip hire, that the owners won't take the minority hire and get extra draft compensation. It really shows you how much they are stuck in their principles and not necessarily focused on winning. It's like, hey, dude, you get more draft picks if you hire this black guy who is just as qualified as this white guy.
Right, and we don't feel like the team will go in any different of a direction depending on which one we pick. So it's a problem, and we'll touch up on it. But back to Lovie.
Yeah, Lovie. Gotta love Lovie. He has a 500 record as an NFL head coach. He had a good run with the Bears up in Chicago. You know, the weird thing about this hiring was he was not one of their finalists, but it was like they subbed out Brian Flores after the lawsuit and then subbed in Lovie, who was already on their staff as the DC. So good for Lovie. I think Lovie's deserving of a head coaching job. He's going to be better than a lot of these new coaches. But we have to understand that the Texans roster is bare, and we don't know if they have a quarterback yet.
And I know they're gonna give Davis Mills run. I think that they were pleased enough with what he did towards the end of the season because he didn't look terrible. There could be something there. I mean, he was a rookie 3rd round pick. I mean, we got to give these guys more time. And I think that keeping Lovie, like I said, it was a continuity thing too. So like it made a ton of sense. The defense wasn't god awful for the Texans. Yeah, they got a couple games where they got blown out and gave up points, and that just happens in the NFL. I mean, hell, the Falcons got blown out 3 or 4 times this year. So, I mean, that happens in the league. It does happen. And so Lovie is continuity. He's an NFL, basically football lifer.
Absolutely.
You know, I was a little surprised by it for one reason, probably more than anything. It's because his last job, even before this, he was the head coach at Illinois, and college is different from the NFL. But man, that Illinois football team was fucking bad. And
well, who can win there? Like, who can win at Illinois in football?
I mean, Brent Bielema is the coach now, and what they improved. They were better than they were under Lovie last year, the year before that, and so we'll see. But Brent Bielema is also a college fucking coach, and he's familiar with the Big Ten, you know, and in the recruiting for that part of the country. So there's continuity there. Right. And so
Lovie's an NFL guy.
Yeah, and Lovie's an NFL guy. And so I just think that there was continuity there. Lovie's probably looked at fondly around the NFL. Obviously, him and Tony Dungy were the first 2 black coaches to coach ever in the Super Bowl, and it just so happened to have been the same game. So I think that he's looked at fondly. The players probably like him too. And like I said, I think it was just more of a continuity thing. Plus, Brian Flores, you know, basically, you know, shutting the door on himself.
And the league office made a phone call and said, y'all better not hire Josh McCown. We got enough going on right now with these colored folks.
Right. We really don't need you to hire a high school football coach, even if he played in the NFL for 16 years. We would really like it if you don't hire a high school football coach.
A high school assistant coach.
Right. I was about to say, not even a head coach, but he's a high school football coach. Like, the fact that they interviewed him, and think about it, there were the reports last year that he was going to be the guy. But at that point, too, my question is, why not just keep David Culley on? I don't know. They won as many games the year as they did the year before, and Deshaun Watson played the whole season. So I didn't understand them firing Culley to begin with. They knew that he was never the coach, and that's why they fired him, because they never wanted him to be the coach. Nobody wanted that job. The Deshaun Watson cloud was over the organization.
And you know what? Their front office is a shit show. Let's be honest. They got the preacher running the show, and it came out that Nick Caserio would be on the headset during the games. What? I mean, I get it. He's a Belichick guy. He may know football like on the field better than most GMs. And if I look up his Wikipedia, he may have some coaching experience. But come on, man. Like, why is the GM on the headset during the game? Like, bro, go GM. Sit in the booth with the owner.
Right. And, it's a shit show. I wish the best for Lovie. I don't see this lasting past 2 years. But, because here's the thing, too. You got to look at that division. You had the Titans, obviously. The Colts should have made the playoffs. And then you got the Jaguars, who are just as much of a shit show, but probably are definitely headed in the right direction by getting Doug in there. It's funny because I literally called Doug Peterson as soon as it happened. I said he would be the perfect guy for Shad because he's a Super Bowl winning head coach. He was, to me, he was the best hire of all the coaches. He was the best hire. And I do think that you're going to see change in Jacksonville. I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs next year. Wouldn't be shocked at all if they won 6 or 7 games, though, in the first year.
I think it's crazy that Doug wasn't a hot coaching prospect. Because if you look at what he did in Philly, he ran a great operation over there and really got his legs cut out from under him, because we got Howie Roseman, the best GM in the NFL, who wants to just dictate everything and is in the owner's ear. And I mean, my God, they benched Jalen Hurts the last game of the year last year. Like, come on, man. What are you doing to Doug? I mean, you drafted Jalen Reagor. Hey, Josh, y'all drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson.
And then, they traded up this year to get Devontae. They could have traded up last year to get CD, even if that was who they really wanted. Let's say that's who they really want. You could have got CD. There's just a lot of stuff that team. But I just think that it's good that a guy like Lovie is getting another opportunity to be a coach in this league. I just think that he is getting set up for failure too. And did they release the contract on him? Like, I know he didn't get a 5-year deal. He probably got a 3-year deal. Maybe 4. I bet they didn't give him the 5, though, that you need in a rebuild when you hire somebody. Like, think about Herb. Herb got a 5-year deal, but of course Herb got fired for reasons. You know what I mean? There was legit reasons why this guy got fired.
Oh, no, he got 5 years, $25 million.
Lovie?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right, so you know what? They're going to give him 3. He will get 3 of those. And as long as there's progression by year 3, he'll maybe live out the contract.
I wonder what his buyout is, though, because that's what really matters.
Well, here's the thing. Think about it. Yeah, the buyout would only be for him getting fired. I don't foresee anyone being like, oh, yeah, we got to get this guy in here,
Me neither. But sometimes that buyout holds you from firing him so soon, especially when you paid out David Culley $24 million reportedly.
If his guarantee's 15, then like I said, he's going to get the guaranteed 3. He's going to get all 3. He's going to get those first 3, especially if it's his 5-year deal, because you're giving him at least 60% of the contract, right?
Yeah, and that makes sense. I'm rooting for Lovie. I hope he turns it around, because let's not forget the Texans are two seasons away from being a playoff team. Had they just hired a GM instead of letting Billy O'Brien run the whole operation, they probably would still be a contending team in the AFC South.
Think about Bill didn't get any I don't remember him getting any head coaching interviews.
You know why? They watched that terrible offensive game plan that he ran against Georgia.
Yeah, yeah.
And that terrible red zone execution. They're like, nah. He
was and let me speak as the devil's advocate, also known as an Alabama fan. He didn't have his 2 best receivers on the field. And he did go against an all-time college football defense. We're talking the 85 Bears version of college football defense.
Hey, it's your job to scheme him open, their coach, and he didn't. But
He didn't.
vanilla bland play calling. You know what?
And they were in until the fourth quarter.
Think about what Lane would have been doing, dialing up those plays, or even Sark.
Sark was drinking halfway through the games, So his creative juices were definitely flowing. Love Sark. I wish, the more and more I look back at that, not to get too deep into the Falcons again, we probably should have a count for how many times I bring up the Falcons on the podcast, because I bet it's every episode.
That would be, I'm going to write that down.
We need to get a sound. We need to get a sound effect that you play every time I say that. Something about the Falcons. I don't know. It could be like Samuel L. Jackson saying "Rise up," or some shit. But
that's what I was thinking, actually.
Yeah. But nonetheless, a guy like Sark, he didn't get his fair shake. I think that we should have kept him, and I think that the offense would have been a lot better than that 30 years.
I think we should have kept LaFleur, but
we should have hired him to begin with. It's every other team does that type of shit, and I don't know. We got to be so different.
So all the other hires kind of make sense. We knew what Miami was going to do. They were going to go oddball coach. We knew that the Rams were the Saints were probably going to go Dennis Allen. I think the one shock was Byron Leftwich pulling his name out of Jacksonville after they did not let him choose his GM.
LCPL Jackson.
So, it is what it is. But speaking of Tampa Bay, let's get to Brady.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say one more thing on the coaching thing.
Okay.
The craziest part about it is, in my opinion, the hottest coaching candidate. Who do you think it was? To me, none of the hottest coaching candidates took jobs.
I thought it was Harbaugh. DQ.
I thought it was DQ. I thought that he was the one person that I think multiple teams wanted. And I think that he honestly didn't think any of the situations were good enough.
And DQ knows that he can get another head coaching job if it's right. But if it's not right, he's not getting a good job.
And then more importantly, he won't ever get a head coaching job again after that.
Exactly. And Jerry probably fatted his pockets and said, hey, look here. If
highest paid DC in the league.
If Mike keeps this shit up.
Right. We might need you to audition in the middle of the season. But then again, we already know who's taking that job next season.
Oh yeah, Sean Payton.
Yeah, it's got it all. It's written all over.
I'm happy Kellen Moore didn't get hired because he would have been a disaster. I mean, he's supposed to be a great play caller, and he's not. So why the hell would he be a great head coach? Anyways, Brady. Brady kind of hinted at not retire. I mean, being retired, saying he's happy now, but 6 months from now, he may not feel the same way. Never say never.
Never say never.
Is he pulling a Favre on us?
I think that he's got Favre-esque traits in it, and it's because this is something that's always been talked about. I mean, think about it. A lot of people thought he should have walked away after the Falcons, bringing them up again. After Super Bowl 51. A lot of people thought that he should have ended it on that note. He had the most Super Bowls ever. The most by a quarterback, because that was number 5 for him.
Yep.
So he had gotten that. You had the greatest comeback ever. Walk out on top. What else do you have to play for? I think Jimmy G still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy was there. You had the heir apparent. I mean, everything had set up perfectly for him. So from a Favre standpoint, I feel like it's always been something that's talked about. Now, granted, Favre was the one that was always doing the talking on his end, but it's always been the media and then just speculation of, even though Tom was adamant, I'm going to play till I'm 45. And I think that I could play even beyond that if I wanted to. I think that is that's kind of been his thing. And so him saying never say never, basically, I believe him. I do believe that maybe if he gets in a position where he feels it, and then again, also, who's going to turn him down? Whether that be like Tampa might not go out and try and get somebody. Like they might be like, yeah, we're just going to roll with Kyle Trask. and they do that, and Brady wants to come back, of course they're gonna welcome him with open arms. Like,
We know some are saying they may trade for James Garoppolo.
that man is gonna be a Pittsburgh Steeler. I'm telling you right now, he's gonna be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
I don't think Brady's gone, and that may have influenced Leftwich deciding to not walk away so soon. I think that he's doing a test run with the family. He's really going to take some time, relax. I don't think he's going to stop training. He's just not going to be training, like he would for the regular season. But he's still going to be staying in shape. Get out of there, and throwing the ball. So I'm just curious to see what's going to happen. 5 months in, where it's like Gisele's like, Tom, you got to go, and maybe he retired because she wanted him to come home. And he's just like, I'm just going to get on her nerves, and I'm going to prove to her like that this is not a good idea yet. And then she's going to make up her mind and say, you know what, Tom, I think you should go back and play football. And that's what he gets. That's how he gets what he wants. Because, sometimes you have to show somebody that they're wrong instead of just telling them that they're wrong and doing what you want to do. You have to let it play out a little bit so that they can be like, okay, because when it's their idea, they usually embrace it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. And I think that, too, at the same time, obviously the kids being the most important thing, and, having their dad at home, certainly playing a factor in. I think that Tom also wanted to look into his business venture side of stuff too. And, not to say that like something like Kobe Bryant has any influence over it, but think about it. Kobe had a very short post-playing career. Now, granted, it was a freak accident, but or tragic accident. And I don't know. You just never know. And so it's just like, yeah, I can understand like wanting to spend as much time with the kids. But I think business-wise too, if you get on his Instagram, he's like really promoting now this like clothing line called Brady. And so
he referenced Kobe on the podcast talking about some of the others' interests in life,
Yeah, and Kobe for the short period of time, because Kobe 4 years post-play and then he dies, like Kobe did a lot. He accomplished a lot within that time. Obviously, body armor was something he was doing at the very end of his career, but body armor super successful. I know you're a big fan of it. And crazy enough, you leaving your watermelon cherry, I think was the flavor. I think that was the flavor. You left one of those here once. I was never a fan of body armor because I don't like the taste of coconut water. Plus, I don't like coconuts because I don't like milk. I tasted it. It was ice cold. I was like, man. And now I still get Gatorade too, but like I like that too. And so you start.
Hold on, Pierce. You're coming in pixelated. Let me bring you out and bring you back in. Try again.
Am I good?
Sound a little robot-y and frozen.
Do I need to leave? Maybe.
Probably.
All right, here. Let me do that.
All right. So while he's doing that, I'm curious to see what's eventually going to happen with Brady. Like I said, I think he's going to just, try this family thing out, see how it makes him feel, see how the wife feels about it, because there's some more left in the tank. And I think he's one of those who doesn't want to go out like Michael Jordan did with the Wizards, but he definitely wants to keep playing until he can't play anymore. He wants to take his horse down to the Old Town Road and ride until he can't no more, and that horse being his football career. But I'm optimistic. But you know what? If Brady doesn't play, I mean, he's been a godsend. He's been one of the best players of our lives. Many call him the GOAT. I'd probably agree with them. So thank you, Tom Brady, for your years of service. Are we back, Parlay Pete?
I think so. Do I sound like what's his name on Star Wars? CPO or whatever?
No. You sound like Parlay Pete. I like it.
All right, good. But yeah, I just caught the end of that. Thank you to Thomas Brady. I think that Junior, by the way, he's
Thomas
junior.
Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Go skip Bayless on you real quick.
Yeah, as a fan of football, I never had an issue with them. I was never particularly a fan of the Patriots when, obviously where he played a majority of his career. And then him going to a division rival like the Bucs, of course, makes me not like you. I was always a fan of his. He's always going to be etched in my mind for one reason, of course. But and that's when I really honestly, give me one of those. That's literally really when I kind of started to not like him like the way everybody else doesn't like him. And I think it's just because he stole a moment of joy in my life that I think one day I will get to have, but that's the closest I ever got to that joy. And so I don't like the fact that he did that. But outside of that, I mean, he's a fantastic quarterback. Wasn't the best eye test, in my opinion. I think that Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers, eye test-wise, to me, have been better quarterbacks in the NFL. But he's certainly the most accomplished football player ever, so he's got to be the GOAT. He's got more rings than Jordan, so some people want to call him, from a sports perspective, maybe not the greatest athlete, but certainly the best win. Well, and I know Bill Russell, but come on, modern sports, the best, winner ever.
You better throw Serena Williams in there.
Oh, yeah, and of course,
hey, look,
Serena doesn't play a team sport, and so they're apples and oranges from that perspective. But certainly, Serena's obviously, and so is fucking Jokic. Like in tennis, these are people that dominate. They dominate their sports, and what Brady's done at that position, and for him to have never been the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It goes to show, guys, you should take pay cuts for the greater good.
And you'll still be rich as shit and make money away from football because I know Tom he's not struggling to put something on the table for the kids.
I mean, if he is, who cares? His wife is like damn near the goat of her industry.
Exactly.
Like y'all talk about Beyonce and Jay-Z, goals, yes, goals. Tom Brady and Giselle aren't too far behind there, buddy.
They're not.
But they don't look
like they're white.
Us. Yeah. I mean, Giselle's Brazilian. She's
white. She looks white, so she's white.
Right. So speaking of Brady, in a game that he's dominated, 7-3 throughout his career, 10 Super Bowls, 7 wins, man. We got the Super Bowl, man. We got LA. We're at SoFi Stadium. It's SoFi because that stadium is SoFi. And we got
Hollywood.
We've got Odell Beckham Jr. We've got Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp,
Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Jay-Z, according to Jude.
Jay-Z's got the iPod hooked up. We got Joe. Hold on. I can't talk about
Throw him on.
We got Joe Cool, baby. Jamar Chase.
You mean Joe Brr? Joe Brr. That's who the fuck he is. He's Joe Brr. That boy cold, man.
Yeah, we got Joe Brr.
You do.
And Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor, former Rams assistant, Yeah,
so we got a Super Bowl, man. And there's so many angles that we can go with this. We didn't really get to cap the championship games last week. We're not going to this week. We're going to preview the Super Bowl. So let's start with the Rams defensively. The Rams have a great front four, and they can get home with 4, and the Bengals have a terrible offensive line. I mean, god awful. So I'm interested to see how Raheem's going to dial it up. Because the Chiefs could not get home to save their lives. I heard a stat today that the Rams have only given up 18% of their third down conversions on defense. And the Chiefs, third down is like their money down, baby. So not the Chiefs, excuse me, the Bengals. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. That front four versus that terrible O-line. How they're going to cover the receivers. Is Jalen Ramsey going to lock up with Jamar Chase, or is he going to take away T. Higgins and we're going to double Chase and see if Tyler Boyd can step up? I'm excited, man, but what do you see happening for the Rams defensively?
Defensively, I think the biggest thing, and this is just from an analytics and just a pure watching standpoint, they're going to have to, even though, like you just said, for the Bengals, third down is their money down. Let's make it third and long every time, limiting the run game. If Mixon is getting stuff behind that line, first down they run and it's a loss of 1. So now you're 2nd and 11. Joe throws a short pass. Maybe then he gets 3 yards or something. Jamar catches it and, he's wrapped up by Jalen. Now you're looking at 3rd and 8. So I think that making that third down always third and long is going to be key. Don't ever give them a short third down. And even though we're talking about arguably the most explosive offense in the NFL this season, I think that they did have more explosive plays, which I guess counts as, 25 yards or greater, something 30. It's something like that. they've had more than anyone in the NFL this year. And so even though they are known for their big plays, the Rams certainly, I mean, outside of that Mike Evans touchdown, where I don't know what the fuck they were doing when Brady threw that to where you let him get that open. But outside of something like that, you don't characteristically, you're not seeing that out of a Rams defense. They got old man Weddle back there too now. And who knows, maybe that could have been a part of that. I don't know. But you got old man Weddle there. I just think that defense is stout. And we know that if there's one thing that Raheem Morris is going to do, he's going to have a plan. And more Falcons references. But I do think that the defense is they're going to show up, man. I mean, Von Miller, he lives for this. He is a Super Bowl MVP. You know, we're not just talking about somebody that was in the game and that won the game and was a big part. No. This man was the best player in one of these games. And so you've got him. You got Aaron Donald, who's had the disappointment of playing in one and not winning it. You've got Sean McVay, wonder kid. You know, you get this not real home field advantage because, hell, it seemed like there's more 49ers fans at that NFC Championship game. But
the Rams don't have real fans, let's be honest.
Yeah, and the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl, so it's just going to be a mix of whatever.
Yeah, it's corporate.
It's going to be all the rich people that have money. And so, you know, I think that the defense is going to be able to limit them and come out, man, and put pressure on Burrow. I mean, if the Titans can get 9, why can't the Rams repeat that performance? And I understand everybody's like, yeah, the Titans got 9, but they lost the game. But we look on the other side of the ball, certainly the Rams offense is a lot better than that Titans offense. So,
you know, you talked about McVay and you talked about Raheem, and I think that's where the game is really going to be decided. We're going to talking about coaching. Sean McVay getting undressed by Bill Belichick in his first Super Bowl, and that even carrying into the following season with that offense not being as productive as it was, as they would like for it to be, and resulted in the end of Jared Goff's career as a productive quarterback in the NFL. You know, and McVay realized, hey, I might be smart, but I got to get better. Like my players I got to get better players to win the biggest games. So what do you think? How much do you think McVay's experience and even Raheem's experience, you know, down in Tampa, being a part of that Super Bowl coaching staff is going to have on this team, man? Like Zach Taylor has no experience.
Well, aside from when he was an assistant the year they went the first time with McVay.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing.
He doesn't have legitimate coaching experience.
No,
because even Raheem, along with Tampa, obviously he was on the Falcons staff when we went. So Raheem's been in a couple Super Bowls anyways, right? So I do think that it's going to make a big difference. I mean, that is what we're looking at in general. You know, aside from Matt Stafford, you know, a lot of those Rams players are still there from that team. Tyler Higbee, like there are many players that were on that team. Can you imagine if the Rams still had fucking Robert Woods too? Oh my goodness, because he got hurt this year, but. Nonetheless, you know, it's going to be very few Rams players that don't even have that experience themselves, along with the staff. Everybody has got that experience. And I think that that's going to be a big advantage for them. I mean, they've prepared for this game before. They know how it can be a little different than just any normal game, you know? And then especially that stinker that the Rams did do the first time around, they're going to learn from that. And you know, Sean McVay certainly didn't forget. He knows now situationally because that game was close. Basically until the last 5 minutes, that game was like fucking tied. So, like, that game was very close the entire game the last time they were in it. And you're going against somebody that, you know, big game Burrow. At the end of the day, college still ain't NFL. And even though he's won some big games now in the playoffs, he still hasn't had to go through that grinder as far as I'm concerned. You played a Raiders team that was, you know, for lack of a better word, sinking going into the playoffs. They were sinking. Then your next game, you play a Titans team that has
9 sacks and they lose.
Well, but I'm talking offensively even. You're playing a Titans team that's got at best, an average quarterback, old, washed-up Julio, and a hurt Derrick Henry returning from injury, a guy that hadn't played football in, 3 months. So I just think that – and then you played the Chiefs, who granted have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. At the end of the day, that's still a team that secondary might have been one of the worst secondaries in the NFL. So there was a flawed football team that you played. This is a Rams team that's pretty much complete on all three levels and all three units, all the way around. It's a team that doesn't beat themselves unless Matt Stafford does it. But outside of that, nobody else is going to beat themselves on that team.
And so let's talk about Mr. Stafford. I typed up Matt Stafford, but apparently he's like Matthew McConaughey, and he goes by Matthew Stafford. Like, you don't call him Matt Stafford to his face. So
really?
Matthew Stafford.
Is Matt Ryan's name Matthew?
I'm sure it's Matthew, but know what? It's Matt. Matty Ice, baby.
All right.
But anyways, Matty Ice and Ice Trey. I mean, we just have a cold city in Atlanta. Burr. But back to Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford, he, the big trade of the offseason, all the prognosticators, Rams to the Super Bowl. And they are in the Super Bowl, but by no means are they world beaters. We got 2 4 seeds playing against each other for the first time in Super Bowl history. Now, I would say just from the eye test, the Matthew Stafford trade was a winner.
Oh,
I don't care if Jared Goff got you to a Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl is supposed to be the end all be all. No, you are a much more competitive team with the addition of Matthew Stafford. So what will this game say for Matthew Stafford's legacy? He's going to have all of the counting stats. Do you think if he wins this game, it makes him a Hall of Famer?
From an eye perspective, in my opinion, no. And I don't think it's because he just played in Detroit. I just think that he's never been somebody that's proven to me that he was ever elite. And even this year, I think he's had really one of his best seasons ever. His best season was that year that he did take Detroit. And they won like 11 games. He threw for 5,000 yards. That was his best season. But
they didn't win a playoff game, did they?
No, they didn't. They played the Saints. And so and that's always a tough place to win. But nonetheless, I just think that with this team, you look at this team, I think that there's 10 quarterbacks in the NFL that you could name that would have done the same with this team. And I think that that's what's going to kind of be a dark cloud over if they win this Super Bowl. He played well. He's played well all postseason. He played well during the regular season. Had a couple of stinky games. But who doesn't, right? Like I said kind of earlier with the Texas thing, there's always going to be a couple of stinky games. But my point is that this is like one of the most talented, if not arguably the most talented roster in the NFL. You've got a guy that you could really consider a top 5 coach in the NFL in Sean McVay.
Absolutely.
Raheem Morris is somebody that should be a head coach in the NFL and has prior head coach experience. Your offensive coordinator just got hired to be a head coach. So I just think that when you look at the talent and even the staff, it's going to be hard for me to give him a lot of props for why they won. But I guess statistically and with the Super Bowl, yeah, he'll eventually, more than likely, he's going to get in. He'll more than likely get in.
And you know what? Unless he goes on a crazy run of long playoff runs, multiple Super Bowl victories, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer because as talented as he is, as nice as the eye test can be for the throws that he can make, like he's been doing the no-look pass.
He's made some very nice throws. I think you would put that in the group once. Look, I loved him as a dog. I think everybody loved Matt Stafford as a dog because
but you know what?
We had some fucking hope to win.
But he's only as good as his roster. Despite how talented he is, he's only as good as his roster. And he hasn't elevated his roster like the guy we're going to talk about next, Joe Cool. They're calling him Baby Brady out here. And are the Bengals the 0-1 Patriots? I keep hearing this in the sports news cycle. You have the – let me tee you up now.
Fuck no. But go ahead.
We have this nice, young, cool, calm, collected quarterback, playing against all the odds, playing with house money. And now they're playing against the high-flying Rams team, kind of like the Patriots. And the Rams are a big favorite in this game. I mean, some books had it up to 4.5. Not nearly as big as the Rams were against the Patriots.
They were like 12.5, something like that.
Yeah, it was like 12.5, 13-point favorites.
Yeah.
And, some people can say the Burrow may start this run, start this dynasty. Do you think the Bengals are we talking about the Bengals or the 0-1 Patriots here, man?
We're talking about the Bengals, man. Come on. That's who we're talking about. First of all, there's no similarities. And I'll tell you why. Outside of the fact that Joe's in his second year. That's the only comparison that we can make with him and Brady. There's no other comparison. Tom was a game manager at the time. They had a top 5 defense. And it proved to be a dynasty defense. He does not have that. He's got a scrappy defense. The Bengals defense is scrappy. I will give them that. They are scrappy because I think Hendrickson, it's so weird. I really wanted him on the Falcons. And I remember, obviously, last year when he was with the Saints and just previously, man, he was always getting back there. Because if it wasn't Will Smith, it was fucking him. So, not Will Smith.
No, mustache guy, Cam Jordan.
Yeah, Will Smith. Will Smith used to get back there too. Man, he rests in peace. But nonetheless, no, they're just a short no. They're not similar teams. Those teams, they're just completely different to me. If anything, like I said, I kind of look at the Bengals. They were, and this team didn't make the Super Bowl, but I even said it going into the AFC Championship game. This Bengals team more so reminds me like of kind of that Andrew Luck team that he took to the AFC Championship. Young, talented, quarterbacks playing great ball. They just got stuffed by the Patriots. But then again, apparently they were the ones deflating balls in that game. So who knows? Maybe if those balls weren't getting deflated, we don't know. Maybe the Colts went to the Super Bowl that year. I don't know. But what we do know is that the balls were getting deflated. And so that was proven. And so they even had a guy named the Deflator. I'm sorry. I'm trying to shit on the Patriots a little bit. God, then they came back and beat us. But nonetheless, no, I just don't think that there's a comparison to be made there. I think that Joe is Joe. He is Joe Cool. He is Joe Brr, like he's legit. That's him. And I think that he's somebody that is very good at going against people when they're going against him. I saw a video of him. The last game he ever lost in college. If you remember, they played here. I am. But that kind of just threw me off there. I'm not gonna.
I'm sorry, bro. It threw me off when I saw it. Like here, let me just show you these other comments. Like I can't read this.
That's probably why I asked, "Are you from Saudi Arabia?" You just copy and paste and Google it. Nonetheless, the last game that he played here, he got lit up. He took a big hit by UCF because that was the year I think UCF went undefeated.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, he took a big hit, and they like showed him like kind of getting rocked, and like nobody kind of coming to his defense. And obviously, that motherfucker came back out the very next year and was just throwing that bitch, like just tossing it around.
Well, did you hear the stories about him like fighting in practice? Apparently, there's a story back when he was at LSU. There was a fight that broke out, and it was offense versus defense. He couldn't get in, and later in practice, he found Patrick Queen and wanted his fair one.
Really?
Yes. That boy built different.
Yeah, well, he's a tough son of a bitch. I think we know that. We definitely know that. He's a tough SOB.
So, question about Burrow. If Burrow goes out, throws for 350, 3 tubs, right? It's like convincingly the Super Bowl MVP. Do we elevate him as the best quarterback in the league? I mean, because look what he's dragging. Look what he went through. He's beat Patrick Mahomes 2 times in a row. And there's a legitimate conversation for him to be the MVP. And this isn't hindsight. I was talking about it towards the end of the season. Like, look what he's doing. I mean, he's elevating a lot more talent, a lot, a worse roster than what Aaron Rodgers is doing over in Green Bay. And if he goes on this run, I mean, you got to beat a man. To beat a man, you got to beat the man, and he beat the man.
I think
can we put him in that conversation and it be legitimate and not just clickbait?
I think you throw him in the combo, but you don't crown him. I mean, he's definitely say top 5 for sure. I can give you that. I'll give you that if he can get it done. Hell, even if he don't get it done, I think that you can start entertaining that conversation for sure already in his second year. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to give him the Giannis type shine. because, you know, once Giannis won, everybody looked at how accomplished he was at such a young age, which is very true. Giannis he's a great basketball player. But for us to still sit here and act like, you know, and it's a little bit apples and oranges, A, because it's basketball, but then B, you're the toast of the town if you won a championship, especially somewhere you're not supposed to win it, which is where they kind of draw similarities, because it's Milwaukee versus, you know, Cincinnati. I mean, these are two places in the Midwest that don't win, haven't been known to be winners, you know, smaller cities. And so I do think that something like that, you could entertain it, but in terms of him being the best, no, I wouldn't make him the best. He's still not better than Rodgers, and now with Brady gone, potentially, he definitely can get slotted into that top 5, sure.
So is he the best quarterback in the game today, in the game Sunday?
That's a tricky question. I'm going to say no.
So Matthew Stafford, top 5 quarterback in the NFL today.
Well, I'm not saying that Joe Burrow is. I'm saying if Joe Burrow wins, we can. I wouldn't have put Joe Burrow going into the playoffs even as well as he had been playing going into it. I wouldn't have put him in the top 5 either. I think Matt Stafford, again, is somebody too now with Brady gone, like, because we're losing quarterbacks now. So it really is the end of an era kind of in the NFL. I mean, think about it. Another Falcons reference. Matt Ryan is the active passing leader in the NFL. So think of it that way. I mean, that is where we're at in the NFL, to where now I remember rookie Matt Ryan. And now you mean to tell me he's the active leading passer and it's by about 6,000 or 7,000 yards? And Aaron Rodgers is second to him. So it's just like, it's the changing of the guard in the NFL. And I just think that it's too early to kind of crown somebody like Burrow. And a guy like Stafford has kind of put in the work, at least statistically he has. But I think that in a weird way, for legacy purposes, and some people might not agree, I think that a Super Bowl for Matt Stafford would be more impactful than it would be for Joe Burrow if he won in his second year.
Absolutely. But I think that a Super Bowl for Joe Burrow is like a bigger deal, you know, like if we're talking like whole like wide scale, right? Now for Matt Stafford's career, Matt Stafford's legacy, I think the Super Bowl means way more for Matthew Stafford because Rob Parker calls him Stat Padford.
Some of these guys and these goddamn ways of putting words.
Hey, I like Rob Parker, but hey, let's see, man. Let's get back to the Super Bowl thing and Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham has been killing in the playoffs. I want to say he has like an 83% catch rate, which is higher than his average. He's been a great guy, great locker room guy. You know, you're seeing some of the social media clips going around about him being a great guy. He's been quiet. There hasn't been any controversy.
Most importantly, he's been productive as fuck. He's been productive as fuck. He looked great. He's looked great all playoffs. And really since he got there. I mean, I had him in fantasy, obviously, this year. So, like, he was catching a touchdown every game. And obviously, you're playing with Cooper Kupp, you know, and then you get Cam Akers back, who, my God, I mean, a guy that looks like he never fucking tore his Achilles. I mean, almost like that was fake news.
Yeah. And, you know, here's the thing about Odell Beckham, and I think this matters, you know, and I think it's going to play itself out with James Harden going to Philadelphia. The fit matters. The situation matters. And being in a situation where you can win and you know that you can win and you have the pieces around you and you have the infrastructure around you, you have less issues because when Odell was with Tom Coughlin up in New York, he was dancing a little bit, but he was making big plays and he was highly productive. But after Coughlin left and Eli fell off of a cliff, you start seeing more of the bullshit. Then he gets to Cleveland. It's fucking Cleveland. Like, enough said. Then he gets to the Rams and there's nothing. And if you remember, at LSU, there weren't any issues of character or any of that stuff with Odell Beckham. He's just a guy who wants to win, needs to win. And when he's in a situation where winning doesn't seem likely, He acts up because he's like, fuck this shit. We ain't winning. And I ain't getting the ball.
Right.
And Baker's trash. You got Geno throwing me the ball and old ass Eli. Like, nah, bro.
Yeah. I think, like I said, with a guy like Odell Beckham, because he's been so productive, it quiets everything else. And just like winning cures all, like in any situation, it's the same even with him. And they are winning, of course. That's why they're in the Super Bowl. You're winning and you're being productive. I think when you look at it from that perspective, it's just one of those things where Odell, I don't think he's – and it might even be happier too. I mean, at the end of the day, he's in L.A. versus Cleveland, right? So,
yeah, I would be happy.
You could add that little caveat to it too, to maybe why things are the way they are too. I don't know. But, yeah, he's been great for them. And I wouldn't be surprised if, honestly, he plays a bigger part in them being, crowned champions than Cooper Kupp, because Cooper Kupp is going to get the attention. I mean, he just came off a triple crown season at wide receiver. But then again, Odell Beckham is this acrobatic, star, honestly, classic NFL wide receiver. Because he reminds me more of, obviously, your Randy Moss, T.O., because of the celebrations and stuff. He's diva. He reminds you of Chad Johnson. Like, he reminds you of these larger-than-life kind of receivers.
One-hand catches, tattoos, the shoes,
cleats and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we know OBJ. I'm gonna say he got a nickname.
He's Drake's friend. Like. So
I'm excited. How do you want to do these picks this week? Because I know we got the props that we're gonna have to weave into this. Are you gonna do a 6-pack or what?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get it pulled up real quick before we get into it.
And as you're getting it pulled up, I'm just letting everybody know I got the Bengals on the money line, baby.
Ooh.
I've made a few personal
Bengals
bets with some people, I said I like Joe Burrow. I may have been intoxicated when I made that decision. Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
I may have been riding a little high because I was really happy, but And while you're there, fucking trade deadline was nuts.
It really was, and we need to get ready to figure out too how we're about to do the basketball stuff, because obviously with basketball, you can't really.
We're not doing every week on basketball.
Yeah, that's like a bi-monthly thing.
Yeah,
maybe twice a month at the start of the month, and then first and third week or something. Who knows? And especially we can get started with that too, with the All-Star break coming up. Hold on, sorry, I'm just putting them together. I got my actual picks, but I'm trying to get these other props that were just money.
So tomorrow I'm recording with my guy Sean, who is a Philly guy. Works in sports media up in Philly. So I'm going to be excited to get his take on this whole bin for Russell Westbrook piece.
Really?
Yeah, because he was over Ben Simmons.
Ben, you don't know what the thing with a guy like Ben. Did you see what came out too with that? They were like, he's got to ramp himself up. He's still is in this, I guess.
Right, he's playing in 2 weeks. That's just he's playing after All-Star break. They're just saying that.
Yeah, I was about to say he's going to play after All-Star break, and
you know what? We're gonna see a revitalized James Harden, because apparently Kyrie wanted him out, and there was and Kevin Durant, when asked about it today while they were picking their teams, he was like, "I think everybody got what they wanted."
Aaron.
All right, we've got the props up and we're ready to go.
All right, so here's Parlay Pete's NFL Super Bowl 6-pack.
In the final 6-pack for the season. I'm really excited about it. It's been a great year. And I guess, outside of our off season, this will be like the last podcast that we do, with active football. It'll be nothing but, yeah. But let's get to it, man. Let's get to what everybody really wants to know. who the fuck is Parlay Pete taking for the Super Bowl? I'm going to be headed to Vegas tomorrow, and I'm going to be laying a large wager on this. I'm going to take the Rams money line. I just don't see how a team with all that talent and, they built this team literally for this moment. The game is at home. Joe Burrow is going to have to be on some shit, boy. Let me tell you. If Aaron Donald, we're talking about arguably best defensive player, certainly of this era, but possibly some people think he's up there with LT. And, you start talking about that guy's on that side of the ball. You got a Super Bowl MVP in Von Miller. You've got the best corner in the NFL in Jalen Ramsey.
Gave up Tom Brady's last touchdown.
He did. And I don't know. That looked like just a blown coverage. I have no idea what happened there. And I spoke about that earlier. I was like, shit. I ain't seen the Rams give up no touchdown like that all year. But and then you got Cooper Kupp, the Triple Crown winner, a wide receiver. Odell Beckham is WR2. Matt Stafford, a guy who just has been saying, if I just get a chance, I can do it. I have to go with the Rams, man. It's going to be hard for me to go against them. I mean, I get it. Joe Burrow is super duper cold, but I don't think that he's cold enough to fucking freeze Los Angeles. And if he does, it'll be a cold day in hell. So we're going to go ahead and go with the Rams on the money line. For the over-under, I'm going to take over 47.5. I'm buying a point here. And I'm kind of doing that more so just because, and I say that because the thought would be if the game is close, the game has to go over if it's close. And my thinking is that the game is going to be close. And so, we're looking at something like 47. You could get something along the lines of how I think the game is kind of going to play. You got 28,
24,
23. I think it'll be something like that. I really do. 28, like 23. And so that puts you at 51, which would go over to the 48.5. But just to be safe, we're just going to buy that point. Next, we got we're going to get into the props now. Matthew Stafford for Super Bowl MVP. I just think it's such a quarterback award, and unless Cooper Kupp or Odell or even Cam Akers or somebody of that nature goes for X amount of yards and catches and touchdowns, it's going to be really hard. And because I'm picking the Rams, I have to pick a Rams player, and he's got the best odds. He's the favorite to win it, and I'm going to just stick with it. He's plus 125. So we're going to go with Matt Stafford on the MVP.
And, real quick on that MVP, the only way that the quarterback doesn't get it if the offense is like clicking like that is like Odell has to like throw a touchdown, catch two, or you have like a jet sweep that breaks for a lot of yards or a touchdown. It has to be one of those crazy stat lines that also has a non-receiving touchdown in it.
Yeah, look at Julian Edelman in the last one against the Rams. He won MVP and he had like 11 catches for like 150 yards. So like, there was a touchdown. Sony Michel got it. I thought Sony was going to get it because he was only like a yard or two short of 100, and he had 22 carries. I figured he got the touchdown. So I didn't know why. We knew Brady wasn't going to get it, and so I thought that I really thought Sony was going to get it. But nonetheless, we're going to go with Matt Stafford there on the MVP, and then the next prop we have first touchdown jersey number. This one is because it's important to put these odds up too. If you didn't put it down for Matt Stafford, he's plus 125.
I got it.
So for the first touchdown jersey number, the over under for jersey number is 27.5. I'm going to take the over, and it's interesting obviously because Cooper Kupp is number 18 and Odell Beckham is number 3, and Matt Stafford's number 9. Let's say it's a quarterback sweep, or if Joe Burrow throws it to Jamar Chase, obviously both of their numbers are under 27.5 too. And Cam Akers is 23. I have a gut feeling that it's going to be over 27.5. And I don't know why, but I just do. And those odds are at plus 120. So that one's more of a gamble. That's a true gamble right there. I just have a gut feeling that it's going to be somebody that nobody expects to score that first touchdown because everybody's going to be keyed in on who should be scoring the first touchdown. So give me over 27.5 on the jersey number for the first touchdown at plus 120.
T. Higgins is number 85, baby.
Yeah, it could be T. If what's his name for if Bengals score if Uzuma, the tight end, if he plays, he's 87 or something like that. There's also the chance of a defensive touchdown. Who's to say that Von Miller doesn't get a strip sack? I don't know, but that's over 27.5 too. Hopefully Jalen Ramsey doesn't get a pick six. That'd be a bummer. And it would line him up early in the game for MVP. But nonetheless, he's like plus 2,800, by the way. But nonetheless, give me over 27.5 at plus 120. Most people might think that that's a foolish bet, but you watch and see. We'll go back. We're going to revisit this. So next one, halftime show. Yeah, I'm getting into it like that. That's right. But especially for the final picks of the season, I have to. Halftime show. Will any part of Eminem's performance be censored? I'm going to bet yes. I do think that he's going to say something to where it's going to be blurred out at some point. And, they got it at minus 180. I feel like it's kind of a steal. He's not a censored person to begin with. And so I absolutely think that there's going to be a part of his performance that gets censored, where they block him out. And that's all it takes for it to get blocked out. And so I do think that that's going to happen. So we got yes at minus 180 on that. And then for the final one, this one's a very interesting one. 2+ field goals scored in the first quarter of the game. These odds are at plus 500. I do think that both teams are going to kick a field goal. I think it's going to be 10-3 after the first quarter. And so I do expect 2 field goals to get scored at plus 500. I really like that. And I was going to be an idiot and honestly throw in a bonus one because I've been joking about it now for like weeks where I said that I was going to bet that the Clorox commercial would like air before Priceline or some shit. Because you can bet on this. Like these are legitimate things you can bet on. You can bet on what jersey Drake's going to wear. I mean, it's insane. And so I'm not going to do it though. Those are going to be my 6-pack, our final 6-pack of the 2021-2022 season.
All right, so just to recap, man, the final 6-pack, we have Rams money line. We're going over 47.5 points. We're going to buy a point there for the game total. Matthew Stafford, Super Bowl MVP at plus 125. First TD touchdown jersey number over 27.5, so plus 120. So that's a number of 28 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
Halftime show, Eminem will be censored, and that's at minus 180.
Yeah.
And 2+ field goals in the first quarter at plus 500.
Yes.
Number 6 is probably my favorite bet.
Isn't it a good chance that happens? Like
absolutely, because Super Bowls a lot of times start out kind of slow offensively because each team is filling each other out. They're really into that chess match.
Right.
Hey, Gucci, you got to move, bro. So, man, he's like underneath the mic, right by the microphone, and I had my leg through, so like I can't put my leg down. So, anyways, it's been a good run, Parlay Pete. Are you going to be in town next weekend?
Yeah, I'll be here next weekend. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's try to get some pictures taken next weekend so we can get that new cover art done.
Let's get it done. I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, bet. We'll talk about that later on, man. But thanks so much. Look forward to hearing about Vegas while you're there. Are you going to LA too, or just Vegas?
Who knows? If I hit some crazy ass basketball parlays, might be at the game. We'll see.
All right, man. You have a good one, dog.
All right, brother. Take care.